in here again, letting it rip. Great time for this morning, man. Day. Appreciate everybody coming through up front. Abdullah, what's up, my brother? Popo sitting out there, man, posted up. Minutes to get in here, man. Showtime. 8:15 Central Standard Time. SJ3, my brother, what's good? Hi, Rod, what up, man? Dead Miles, what up with you, bro? I appreciate all my members, man, all my channel members, man. Got something coming up for y'all today, man. So, you know, I appreciate y'all patience, man. Got a piece coming up for my membership, for my channel members. Alpha G, what up, bro? Hey, no doubt, bro, no doubt, man. Trying to start it off right. You know, the way you started off is the way you ended up, man. So, and I said this year, man, at least when I'm doing lives, man, because as I'm progressing through this cut, man, I want y'all to see the difference as well. But I said, man, as far as coming live, man, sometimes I'm on, man, and show my face, man, cam up. You know, they cried for it all last year, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it, man. Prime, with the memberships is on the BOA channel. So when you click on the video, any video you watching, down there beside subscribe, you'll see join. So you just click that join button, and that'll take you into the membership panel, and you can look at it and see, you know, which tier you want to join in, man. So, man, if you're going over there, bro, I appreciate it in advance, man. All right, so I was chopping it over with one of my partners, man, a couple days ago. And the conversation wasn't even about this. The conversation was about something else. And in the midst of that conversation, well, I can't remember what we were chopping it up about, man, at that particular point in the conversation. But I recall my partner saying, man, I try not to see the worst in people. And I thought about that, man, and just in passing, just going through the conversation, I said, you know what, to myself, I said, you know what, I don't try to see the worst in people either. Now, my brother was talking, so I wouldn't just blurt in and interrupt him and tell him, hey, I feel the same way. But I thought to myself, I try not to see the worst in people either. But let me tell you something. Because you don't try to see the worst in people does not mean you should try to see the best in people. The same way it's not wise to try to see the worst in people, it's also not wise to try to see the best in people. Because there's a 50-50 thing. There's a 50-50 chance they're going to be good. There's a 50-50 chance they're going to be bad. So my suggestion is, give everybody a blank canvas. Everybody, a blank canvas. Give them all the paints they want, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about RGB colors, whatever they want. Give them all the paint they want, all the colors. If they want oil paint, give them oil paint. Hell, if they want markers or Crayola crayons, give them that. And let them paint the portrait of who they are to you. You go off that portrait that they paint of themselves. Now, somebody may feel like, okay, man, somebody can act like they want it. They act like, no, they can't. See, if you let somebody take a Polaroid picture of themselves, they can fake it on that picture. Somebody can hold some fake money up. They can have a stack of money that's got two $100 bills on the outside, a bunch of paper in the middle, and hold up some stacks like this, a whole bunch of them. And between, and they got 8 stacks, and between the 8 stacks, they ain't got $1,600. But it looked like they got $16 million. But in a portrait, it takes time to paint a portrait because you got to keep looking at the picture. You got to keep looking at the picture. And there's some things that you see in that picture that camera didn't magnify. So you can't let somebody take a snapshot of who they are. and you take that to face value. Because 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, that Polaroid picture ain't gonna be the same as the real portrait that they paint of themselves. See, that portrait encompasses who you are in good times, who you are in bad times, who you are in rich times, who you are in lean times, who you are in the spotlight, and who you are behind closed doors. That's what that portrait does. So you give everybody a blank canvas and say, here you go. Paint a portrait of your best self for me. And you watch them while they paint. And let me tell you what you look for. The more they start over, the more you know they lying. Something in there that don't look like it does on the picture, the more you know they lying. The more you see them indecisive about what the next thing they gonna start on, the more you know they lying. Because they ain't making a portrait of you. You ain't got to approve of it. They making a portrait of themselves. That should be a pretty cut and dry thing right there. And I say this because I know a brother right now doing 15 years because his brother snitched on him. And I ain't talking about his brother from the streets. I'm talking about his brother from the womb. I'm talking about his brother from the same woman. Doing 15 now because his blood brother told people on him, man. So you could go a lifetime and still not truly know who somebody is in particular situations. So you can't be too quick to give people a positive outlook. They got to earn it. And it's earned over time, over an extended period of time. Because I can guarantee you, if you give somebody, hey, that's a good man pass or that's a good woman pass, I can guarantee you within a year's time of knowing them, you're going to find out different. I can guarantee you're going to find out different. And the thing is, keep you from passing judgment on people that you already have passed judgment on. See, judgment is a thing, you only do that once. You only clarify and classify somebody once. And you do it when you have enough information gathered to do that. You never judge a book by its cover. You heard that. But I say don't even judge a book by the table of contents. Don't judge a book till you get about 75% of the way through it. Then you start thinking about the types of things that you've read in this book. And you can pretty much come to a conclusion what the ending of this book is going to be. You know, it might have a plot twist at the end, but you can kind of, you know the gist of what this book represents. How many cats you think there are? I know a cat right now, man. His wife had a baby by another man. Now the baby didn't look like the first baby they had, but you know, the man wasn't really thinking about his wife going out and having a baby with another man. Come to find out, once the child was 2 years old, he found out the child wasn't his. Now this is his wife. This the woman he thought was good enough to marry, bro. And she out there not only getting it in with another man, but getting it in unprotected with another man, and not even taking the precaution of not getting pregnant. She intentionally got pregnant by another man while she was married to my partner, man. And I'm telling you, bro, it takes a while to be able to determine who folks are. And that's why I'm glad that when y'all come follow me, man, y'all been listening to me for over a year. And I tell y'all stories of my life. I tell y'all the story of my life, man. So you can go back and look at that. And that's why I say never trust a man who never shares his past with you. I'm not saying a man past is supposed to be an open book and he's supposed to tell you everything, down to how many chicks he done knocked down that he regret knocking down, or how many chicks he done got pregnant that had an abortion, or how many, how many push-ups he did when he was in the army, when he was in prison. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about so you can get a gist and develop an understanding of that man's background and what made him into what he is. That way you can see the struggle that made him into what he is. But a lot of men don't share that. You understand? A lot of men don't share that. So it's easy to misjudge someone because of, like I talked about earlier today, I talked about how men, especially men, well, I would say especially men, but I'm talking specifically about men. Men are more likely to try to be what society wants them to be, especially a black man, because it's already hard enough to be a black man in this society. So the majority of black men try to make it easier for themselves by going along to get along in some respect. And for that reason alone, you have to make sure that who you're dealing with is who you're dealing with. And when it comes to women, for sure, I tell a man anytime, boy, if you want to get married, you better make a woman stay with you 5 years. And in 5 years, she better not get 3 strikes. I'm not going to tell you a woman going to be perfect, but she better not get 3 strikes in 5 years because ain't no need to move forward with her. Let's say she get a strike in 5 years. Okay, you married a woman if you want to. She got 2 strikes left. And she ain't get but 1 in 5 years, so that means she might last for 15 years, brother. And at a certain point, it gets to the point where the strikes don't happen no more because everybody's still into the routine of coexisting together and being productive together. But within a 5-year period, that woman give you 3 strikes, bro, it's over. A woman don't get 3 strikes. 3 strikes, bro. And let me tell you something. She get 3 strikes if she just swinging it back. If she does something that's bad enough for her to make contact with the ball, it's an automatic out. Women don't hit home runs. Women don't hit singles. Women don't hit doubles. Women don't hit triples. Women don't even hit foul balls. If they make contact with the ball, it's going to be an out. Because it ain't going nowhere but right back to the pitcher. You the pitcher. See what I'm saying? So a lot of times, man, just in this conversation, man, great ideas develop. And this is one of those times, man, where, because I agree, man, you are destined to be a standoffish, unhelpable, unapproachable person if you try to find the worst in everybody. It don't matter what you've been through, you can't find the worst in everybody. All you can do is use the lessons that you've learned from your dealings with people to be able to eliminate people immediately when you get certain energies from them. But you can't go and say, well, this person seems like they're a good person, and I'm just going to look for the worst in them. Or this person seems like a bad person, but I'm just going to look for the best in them. You can't look for nothing in nobody but the truth. You don't care if nobody's good or bad. It don't matter to me if you're good or bad. I could care less. What I do care about is if you're your authentic self. If I can believe you are who you say you are. If I can look at you and say, this brother is coming to grips with who he is as an individual, and he's accepting that. You understand? If I can look at a woman and say, you know what, this woman is coming to her own, she's very mature, even if she's young, if she's very mature and she accepts that society is what society is, and you can waste your life trying to fight against it, or you can find your way to capitalize on it the best way you can. And if a woman has figured that out, hey man, I'm gonna look at her in a different way than I look at other women. But people who wish-wash, people who go this way and that way, you know, people who, if you can't properly assess the rankings of people that you're around, you understand? If you can't properly assess the pecking order, people you're around, it'll have you being led by somebody who can't even lead themselves. See what I'm saying? It'll have you being friends with somebody, having love for somebody who don't even have love for themselves. It'll have you in situations created by someone that create static when they don't want no static themselves. It'll have you in a situation where you loving on a woman that ain't never loved nobody else in her life. It'll have you in a situation where you respecting people that don't even respect themselves. And there's numerous scenarios that this could have you in that you just don't want to be in, man. You don't want to be in a scenario where you look at a book and say, man, this looks like a good book. I'm going to buy it. Now you spend $30 on the book and you open it and you realize, man, that you ain't got no interest in this talking about. It's clickbait. You got to treat people like clickbait, man. When you look at the title, you can't just go by the title. You got to go ahead and listen to the video. You got to make sure the video is about the title. Make sure it ain't clickbait. You know what I'm saying? The video I put up earlier, I used Tekashi as the thumbnail because that's the perfect example of somebody who was afraid to live as themselves for themselves. They were living as somebody else for their gang, a gang that they had no business being in. You see what I'm saying? You have to make sure that you know who people are, man. Because if not, man, it has the propensity to get you caught up in something that you ain't got no business being caught up in. And that's just the reality of it. It has the potential to bring energies into your life that you didn't even work for, that you didn't even expect, that you weren't even prepared for because they've never been in your life before. And that's the reality of it, man. So I say, man, when you're meeting people and getting to know people, I just don't assume nothing about nobody. You understand? I don't assume they the best. I don't assume they the worst. I just don't assume nothing. I don't make assumptions. And that's the best way to be. Because eventually, if a person is who they say they are, it's going to show. And if a person isn't who they say they are, it's going to show even faster. And I refuse to believe that anybody is who they say they are in our initial, not confrontation, but initial exchange, initial meeting, initial conversation, initial engagement. I refuse to believe it because I've just seen too many people in my life, being where I'm from, and even outside of the environment. I've seen too many people in my life who do a better job of being their fake persona than they do being their real persona. But when the pressure comes, when things hit the fan, you get a chance to find out. You get a chance to find out. The brother EO, man, Everett Overton, man, Coach Everett Overton, man, he had a video up the other day, man, where he was talking about the dudes that go down into the basement and lock the door and soundproof the room so they can go down there and talk all their red pill talk, then go back upstairs and be a blue pill beta simp with their old lady. And I was thinking, man, that's a perfect example of that. You know, there's guys on here who do that for sure, man. You know what I'm saying? There's guys on here who do that for sure. And that's why I don't show a lot of my personal life to y'all. I mean, because I don't make the type of content where I should have, where my personal life will validate my content. But you have to understand this. I do put a conversation with a chick every now and then. So y'all can see that when I'm talking to a chick, I'm the same way I am with y'all. I tell her the same thing I say here. Because this is what I stand on. This is what I believe. You gotta understand this. Ain't nothing more alpha than standing on what I stand on. And any brother who does this, you can vouch for this. Ain't nothing more alpha than standing on what I stand on and have the women in your life know that and not love you in spite of that, love you because of that. Not support you in spite of that, support you because of that. Not carry your flag in spite of that, but carry your flag because of that. Not represent you in spite of that, but represent you because of that. That's alpha. Anything else is less than. And that's the reality of it, man. It's a wonderful life, man, to be able to be who you are. It's a wonderful life to, man, listen, I got a client right now, man. One of my clients I'm gonna see this morning, man. She's a 70-something-year-old white lady in great shape. Got a huge yard. Live on 10 acres. Man, be out there with the yard crew, man. The yard crew had to do her yard for 3 days, man. She be out there with the yard crew, man, for 8 hours a day, 3 days straight. 24 hours for 3 days, she be out there with the yard crew. I'm talking about with gloves on and boots on, man. Picking up sticks and limbs and pulling weeds from under the flower beds and everything. I'm talking about hand pulling them. She be out there. She's in great shape, terrific shape. Take a 2-week trip out of the country every year and do a whole bunch of walking and sightseeing the entire time. In great shape. But she hates Donald Trump. And Now we have conversations about him all the time. I've been trying. I mean, she's been a client of mine, man, for a little over a year now, and she hates Donald Trump, man. And every time she bring him up, I talk about how the wonderful things he's done. You know what I'm saying? I talk about how he's just handling things how a man does. When you in control, you do what you want to do when you in control. You don't care who got nothing to say about it. He ain't trying to be the perfect president. He's still being the same Donald Trump we knew he was. Ain't nothing changed about him. He's authentic. You may not like him, but you can't say he's not authentic. And I respect the man's authenticity first over everything else. You understand? I respect an authentic white man more than I respect a fake brother. And that's just it. Anybody who feel the same way, so what? So, you know, it really, man, is one of those things where, hey, and of course, now, granted, in the beginning, I don't have political conversations with people, man, like that. But it never comes up like that. It's all about the work at first. Once they get comfortable and start looking at you like a friend, like a family friend, then those topics like that come up. But I stick to no matter who it is, bro. And what I'm saying is, not everybody is like that. And if somebody's not like that, they're fake. The only person who's not like that, man, is somebody who's fake. You know what I'm saying? And that's real talk, man. You know, even down to my son's mom, bro. Her favorite thing to ever say to me in the world, you know what I'm saying? Doing her time in the saddle at the lumber yard, at the rodeo, at the ranch. Doing her time in the saddle, her favorite thing to say was, "You are such an asshole." And I always say thank you. You know what I'm saying? I say, well, thank you, my dear. I appreciate that. Could have said it better myself. Not because I tried to be, but this is who I am. And I'm not gonna make an adjustment for anyone. Because I love why would I make an adjustment to be less of what I love to be more of what somebody else likes? But only 1 out of 10 men have that mindset, brothers. Only 1 out of 10 men. 1 10. That means only 10 out of every 100 men, brothers, has this mindset. Only 100 out of every 1,000. Only 1,000 out of every 10,000. You understand? We're talking these numbers are not very, very strong, brother. And so you have to make sure that you are giving people time to show you who the hell they are. And you can't do that if you're looking for the best in everyone, because everybody shows their best in the beginning. You see what I'm saying? If you're trying to see the best in everyone at the first time, but nobody, I mean, the numbers are so low that you might as well say nobody shows exactly who they are. The majority of people don't show exactly who they are in the beginning, because this is the problem. Most people are too afraid to be different from you. Listen, man, I fly my educated thug, my thug/nerd banner. I fly it proudly. I fly it proudly. You understand? I can go in. Listen, bro. I can go in the box. I can go in the spot. You know what I'm saying? I can go on the block and mix it in. You know what I'm saying? Mix it in, handle myself well, get down and dirty if I have to. Or I could go do a lecture at Harvard University about the psychological effects of growing up in a single parent home at Harvard University. I could do both. I'm blessed like that, but that's who I am. I don't shun either side. When I'm at Harvard University, you know what they gonna hear? They gonna hear me say, hey, let me tell you something. They gonna hear me talk, but the words I use are gonna let them know how educated I am. But I'm not gonna adjust my vernacular and start talking proper like this. They're not gonna hear that. They gonna know that I'm a man with some sense, a man with a lot of book sense, a lot of street sense, a lot of common sense. They're gonna know that. It all comes out all the time. Sometimes you may hear me, hey man, I may talk with more of an edge sometimes. It's kind of like, I know I got an African partner, man. And if he's just sitting down top of the woods, his accent is really there, but it ain't like he was born in Africa. But boy, when that nigga get mad, I tell you now, you mother sucker. He think that he almost sound like he's saying mother sucker like Michael Blackson. I tell you something now, you mother sucker. You're telling me what I'm gonna do? I do a thing, you mother sucker. And I tell him, you can't hardly hear what the hell he's saying. But when he come, He said, you know, man, I tell you, when the guy said he'll come around, man, I tell him we don't want to see that. We don't want to go. We don't want to go there. You know, but we don't want to go there, your mother sucker. He sounds just like that, man. So I realized that that's just how it is when you have been exposed to multiple backgrounds. When you've been exposed to multiple backgrounds, you subconsciously separate those backgrounds. You see what I'm saying? Like you subconsciously separate those backgrounds. When I go to the block, man, whenever I'm in town, man, and I hit the block, I just talk to my partners differently. That's just what it is. But if I'm on a college campus talking to a professor about doing a speaking engagement, or talking to a professor about trying to get one of my courses, you know, incorporated into a class, what do I need to do to try to get one of my courses? You know, my goal is, man, to have a course on a college campus, to be like at Cal Berkeley, to have one of my courses as an option. It can be an elective. I don't care, as an elective at somewhere like at Cal Berkeley. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that is a hard thing to do though, man, but that's my goal. So my conversation with him is slightly different. You understand? Now there's some hood vernacular gonna come out in there, but a lot of times these people, it makes them relax. When that hood vernacular come out, it makes them relax. And you know, they become less of a prude themselves and just go ahead and, man, start talking to me like we ain't in the classroom. But even them, they're different in the classroom. Like you have to be a chameleon. My young brother Steph Clinkscale calls it code switching. You know what I'm saying? You have to know. I mean, if you're able to do that, it's a blessing. If you're not, then you pretty much resign to certain environments. Certain environments are not going to embrace you. That's just the way it is. Like if you resign to being square, then it's only so far you going in the hood. You better stop at that shopping plaza up there. You better stop at that strip mall up there. Don't go no farther than that. You know, go shop at the big mall. You know, don't go to the Slaughter Swap Meet. Go to the big mall. You know what I'm saying? For example. So I say this to you, man. People are going to present themselves as what they want you to see in the beginning. So you can never, they say a first impression is a lasting impression. And that's why people fake their first impression so much. You know what I'm saying? If you got a job, I know you've seen this. Somebody who start off, or even if you're a business owner, you got employees. I know you've seen this. Somebody start off getting to work on time every day. Every day. You hire them, they show up on time for the interview. They show up 15 minutes early. And they're there, and they're in there. You're really impressed with the person. You tell them, hey, I need you to get this back to me by Friday at noon. They get it back to you the next day or as early as they can. And you're really impressed with this person. Man, you hire them, and about 3 months in, man, that joker start calling in, showing up late. Always got an excuse. Can't stay all day. Got to leave early. Something wrong with their child. A first impression is a lasting impression. But that's just a myth. That only applies in very extreme situations. Only in very extreme situations. Like a little rap out of Chicago, Chief Keef, did a song that had 50 and Wiz Khalifa on it. They got ready to shoot the video for it. These cats showed up for his video in the desert. That cat didn't even show up for his own video shoot. And he's never recovered from that. Because that's one of those impressions. Now that's an extreme first impression. You got some superstars ready to work with you, and you just blow them off like that. Everybody know you're not about your business. That's different. That's a first impression and the thing is, that's not really even a first impression. You should be able to look at his character and how he carries himself and have some idea that maybe he wasn't going to do it like that. But even with that star power, it should have motivated you to do it. People realize you don't care at that point. It's the same thing with a job. You go in there. See, the first impression doesn't have to be the same day. You know what I'm saying? First impressions normally last more than one day, more than 1 week, more than 1 month. A first impression isn't the first time you meet somebody. A first impression is the first time they really make an impression on you. It didn't say first meeting. It didn't say first conversation. It didn't say first video chat. It didn't say first time on a panel. It didn't say first time at a ball game. It said first impression. You determine what someone's first impression is. They don't determine it. So the first impression, that means the first time they make an impression. You know what the impression is? It's permanent. If you got a star cookie cutter, you cut a cookie, that motherfucker gonna be shaped like a star. You can't even cut it into a circle no more. It's gonna be a star. You get a tattoo on your arm. Let's say, like, you know, the Q dolls get that brand on their arm. You brand the man arm with that Omega symbol. That man branded. You can't turn that into nothing else. A first impression means the point that you are impressed with that person, with that person's presentation enough to know that this is what they represent. First impression don't mean the first time you meet somebody or the first time you talk to them, because they may not make that impression at that point. A first impression is when somebody does something extreme to support who they present themselves as, or deny who they present themselves as. And that's what this is all about. So, man, I done pulled up at my clients, man. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to get on out this thing, man. Go ahead and then put this work in with my first client. I just want to come in and talk about this morning, man, because, you know, I think it's something that we have to discuss amongst ourselves. And I take the opportunities out of my personal life to touch on topics that I think we as men need to think about, because especially those of us who've done unscrupulous things in our lives, we have a tendency to overcorrect and try to be more good than we really are. Sometimes we'll try to make up for the things that we've done by giving everybody else the benefit of the doubt. But we got to keep in mind that a lot of these people are still in the mindset, well, they'll do some of the things that we've done that we would probably change if we could. You see what I'm saying? So, man, I appreciate everybody coming through, man. My brother SJ3, I see you in there, man. D Flemings, I see you in there, man. I appreciate y'all coming through. One shot to the Mod Squad. Everybody else who came through, man. Y'all get out here, man. Hump day, man. Go ahead, get it in. Put God first. And keep grinding and growing, my brothers. Peace.